I hereby call to order this meeting of the Strategic Housing Finance Corporation of Travis County. We are at 1033 La Posada Drive, Suite 180. Today, our headquarters, and it is 1:09 p.m. by my watch. The first item will be a court to order roll call confirmation of quorum. Ms. Honeycutt.
President Julio Gonzalez Altamirano.
Present.
Vice President Jan Winning.
Present.
Director Delete Becker. Director Ashley Huddleston.
Present.
Director Keisha Prince.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. A quorum being established, we will now move to item number 2, public forum citizen communication. Is there anybody signed up virtually or here presently that wants to address the body?
Not that I'm
No one in person. We're looking to get no one online.
No, sir.
All right. Seeing no one that wishes to address the body, we will now move to the consent agenda, skipping the executive director's report for the moment.
Okay.
Are there any items that individual directors wish to take off the consent agenda? Seeing none, then all of the items on the consent agenda are approved by unanimous consent. Let the record reflect that. And now we will go to the action agenda for election of officers. Today ends our previous officer term, and we begin with the election of a new board president. Are there any nominations for board president? Director Huddleston.
I'd like to nominate Jan.
Director Jan Wenig has been nominated by Director Huddleston. Is there a second? It is seconded by Director Prince. Per our rules, I will now call for nominations a second time. I will now call for nominations for a third time. Seeing no additional nomination, all those in favor of electing Director Wenig say aye. Aye. There are no opposed. It is a unanimous election. Congratulations, Madam President. Yay. Speech.
Later.
All right, later. All right. Having elected a new president of the board, I congratulate our new Madam President, and I see the chair of the meeting to our new president.
Okay, proceeding with the elections at this time. Do we have any nominations for the role of first vice president?
I would like to nominate Director Keisha Prince.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Director Prince. You are now our first vice president. Moving on to second vice president, are there any nominations for the seat of second vice president?
I would like to nominate Director Ashley Huddleston.
Is there a second? Director Prince has seconded.
All those in favor?
Say aye. Aye. Okay. Now for the roles of Secretary and Treasurer, I'm going to turn this over to our Executive Director, Ms. Diana Gray, for a brief clarification on what's our tradition and what your
Certainly.
thoughts are.
So the roles of Secretary and Treasurer have in recent years, they are officers of the corporation, not of the board. And so those roles have been filled by staff historically. In the past year, I have served as both Secretary and Treasurer. As we build out staff, we have additional options.
Okay. Then I'd like to call for nominations for the role of Secretary of SHFC.
I would like to nominate, is it Miss Jamie Adams?
For Secretary,
Yes.
We had anticipated potentially that being Executive Director and Treasurer being Katie Adams.
Katie Adams. All right. Katie, are you here?
She's
There you
coming-
are. I was
she's
looking
coming
for you. I was like, can you-
for an acceptance.
All right, there we go.
speech.
Thank you. All right.
So do we
So-
have any nominations for the position of Secretary of SHFC?
I would like to nominate Miss Diana Gray for Secretary.
Are there any seconds to this motion? Okay, I saw Director Huddleston first as the second. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have a second year as term secretary for our new executive director, Diana Gray. Yay. And now moving to the position of treasurer for SHFC. Do we have any nominations for treasurer of SHFC?
I would like to nominate Katie Adams for treasurer. Thank you for doing this. This is your first term as in this nomination, so thank you.
I accept.
All right. Nomination accepted.
She formally accepted the nomination.
Okay.
Do we have a second? Do we have okay. And the second is from Director Huddleston. All those in favor? Say aye. Raise your hand. We have unanimous votes for all 4 positions and all the slate of officers for our new team in 2025. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie, for stepping up. So having completed that item, let's return then to item 3, the director's report, and for that, I invite our executive director, Ms. Diana Gray, to speak to the board.
Next slide, please. So first of all, Happy New Year and welcome back. We're very excited to have our first update be a staffing update. Since our December meeting, we have had 4 staff members join the team. And so raise your hands as I call your name. Marisol Guerra, who has joined us as operations assistant. Shelly Lenz will be serving on the real estate team as our portfolio manager. Anna Martinez will also be on the real estate team as affordable housing assistant.
Yay.
And Jim Ward, who did join in December, but after the board meeting, will serve as our director of planning and external affairs. So this is for 3 of those 4 staff members, day 2 of their tenure with Strategic, and really excited that they have a chance to meet you and get a feel for the board and board process so early in their service. In addition to new staff, as we have added a couple of staff, we have also been able to move one of our long-standing team members into a new role. So Miss Debbie Honeycutt will now be serving as executive coordinator.
Yay, Debbie.
And that role will be providing certainly executive assistant support, but a very significant part of that role will be board support. So we really hope to strengthen our service to you, our support of your good work going forward. Next slide, please. So you may have to get closer. This one may work better. So did want to, as we introduce these new staff, just give you a sense of where they sit in the organizational structure. So the teal blocks are the new staff. As I said, we have Anna and Lachelle on Alex's team. Alex, who, by the way, is out sick today, but would certainly be here otherwise. Marisol will be working closely with Katie. And then I also wanted to mention that we do still have 2 open positions right now. Those are both posted in the interview process, or starting the interview process for the other one, and hope to get those hired as soon as possible. Next slide, please. So as has been our custom, we wanted to give you an update on the occupancy levels of the portfolio. We are continuing to see softening of the market, and so we are now down 0.5 point as from last month. As for our December occupancy levels, we are at a total average portfolio occupancy rate of 84%. And just for context, in January of 2024, we were at 88.4. So I think that while this has been, this reporting has given us a lot of utility in terms of, being aware of what's happening in our portfolio, as we build the team, and particularly with the addition of Ms. Lenz to the team, we really do anticipate beginning to dive deeper into portfolio, and so the reporting may change over time. We will, I think, be looking for depth in that, in addition to just getting the regular numbers. Any questions on this before I move on? I did have a couple of other points. So you'll notice that 3 additional properties dropped below that 80% mark in December. And that's when, this is a color-coded report, so that when you see the red, we've dropped below 80%. 2 of those are phases 1 and 2 of the same, effectively the same property. Just so you have some sense, that's the Heights at Parmer and Heights at Parmer Phase 2. And then the Beckett is the other property that did drop to 79% occupancy. All right, next slide.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to read because it's really tiny, but I didn't see Jaeger Flats on there. Is that correct?
Jaeger Flats this report consists of properties where the occupancy is stabilized. In other words,
They've leased up.
Yes, exactly.
And Jaeger Flats is still leasing.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. That helps me understand the
Yes.
population we're looking
Yes.
at. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, with that, I will invite Ms. Adams to give a brief update on financials.
Oh, treasurer.
Wow.
Hello, all. As the new board treasurer, I'd love to share with you our financial report, which does include our preliminary December financials. We were able to end the year with some exciting things. One is the finalization of the Forest Park transaction, which brought in almost $7.5 million in unbudgeted revenue, which was very exciting. We were on track to exceed our revenue budget without that infusion. So as you can kind of see in our year-to-date percent of budget column, we are well above what we had hoped for at the end of December, and we are very thrilled with that. You should have some financial packets in front of you, so feel free to peruse those. As I mentioned, these are preliminary financials, but we don't expect any major changes to the bottom line when things are finalized. The only other update that I want to be sure to share with you is that because we've changed the cadence of the board meetings a little bit earlier in the month, we do anticipate financial reporting to lag by 1 month. For example, in March, you will be reviewing the finalized January financials. I'd love to hear any questions you may have.
Well, these are more statements, Madam
I'll take them.
Treasurer. One is, this is a significant turnaround from when I arrived on the board in terms of our asset position. So I'm very excited about that. One potential implication has to do with our housing production fund and the policy approach the staff may recommend to how we take our big balance sheet into our different lanes.
Yes.
And a second, just to resuscitate this thought, but not in a prescriptive fashion. As you know, one of the things that is of great concern to Director Altamirano is that while we have been endowed with great powers of abatement, we have not been endowed with a consistent revenue stream. And so in the past, we've had conversations about slowly but surely over our existence. We are immortal as an enterprise, but building an operating endowment so that we can maybe reduce the sharpness of potential cliffs in the future. That might be a terrible idea and not even worthy of further consideration, but we had raised it in the past. And so I do want to raise it again, both for the leadership team and for the staff, for at some point to engender a recommendation of what to do, because I think keeping it just in cash probably is not the best policy. It might incentivize behavior by other entities that we might not want, given our desire to serve the mission expeditiously and create a stable financial position for our enterprise.
Yes.
But that is a number that allows us to do a lot of good one way or another.
On that point, does staff expect to come back to the board with some proposals, and do you want to speak to that, Madam Director?
So when the board approved the board designated funds in December, part of that resolution actually directed staff to come back with some proposed policy guidelines during the first quarter of this year, and so we have been talking about that. Obviously, having the assets in hand gives us further incentive to do that quickly. So our hope is to certainly propose something to the board in February, whether that is there's enough consensus on the board to bring that for a vote in February, or we're posting it for discussion and readying it for March approval. We'll see, but it is something that is on our radar for input very soon.
Thank you. Any other questions on this aspect of the report?
Excellent. Let's move forward. Thank you, Ms. Adams. So, going forward, we anticipate having our 2025 board meetings, as referenced by Ms. Adams, moving to the second Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. You have in front of you a handy-dandy list of those board meetings. We chose the second Thursday because as we looked at the calendar very specifically, this was the alternative that outside of after January didn't have us conflicting with any holidays, any big deadlines, etc. So works quite well. And we will, after today, of course, be sending you individual calendar invites. Here, I'm not going to go through each of these, but I wanted to lay out for you a few things that are on the horizon. One is that, we have long been planning to do a baseline portfolio overview for you outside of the specific issues that we have been addressing as they have come up over the last several months. So right now, to be confirmed with the newly appointed real estate committee, we are contemplating being ready to do that on the 30th of this month. Staff has been working on that, and we would do that the same way that we handled the Rosemont discussion earlier this year, where it is a committee meeting, but all board members are invited. We post it in case there's quorum, but we can have the meeting whether we have quorum or not. Did let board members know about upcoming conference in Philadelphia in about a month, the NeighborWorks Institute. Still time to register for that if anyone is interested. We have 6 staff members going, so very excited about that. There is also an Urban Land Institute conference in Atlanta. We're going to talk a little more about conferences here in a while. The other item I'd love to have all of you hold on your calendars is that we are tentatively scheduled to brief the Travis County Commissioners Court on March 27th. So we have vetted that date with staff, and now we'll move forward to making the formal agenda request. We'll then have to have that affirmed, but will be one of our, it's expected to be twice annual opportunities to share our progress with the Commissioners Court. All right, finally, just a few housekeeping items. One, you will notice that as we have built the team, we perhaps could use a little more elbow room. And so we are actually expanding into the suite next door. It's modestly sized, but will allow us to have one large room for board meetings, one additional office, and a little more utility space. We are hopeful that that will move forward quickly. Certainly would expect to be transitioning our meetings into that space by March. Want to let you know that the staff continues to work with El Buen Samaritano on Rosemont Tenant Investment Program. What they have elected to do is to do a soft launch where they took a small number of already confirmed households and are going through the process with those households to identify any wrinkles and do some troubleshooting. Staff is meeting with them later today, and so the broad launch of the program has yet to be announced, but we are approaching it. Debbie, were you able to get all the signatures you needed on the TDHCA forms?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And then you have had in front of you, and I think most of you have been looking at, an annual conflict of interest form. So in the conflict of interest policy, the board conflict of interest policy that was passed earlier this year, we have an at least annual process in which the board acknowledges receipt of the policy and identifies any potential conflicts they might have. So you certainly can do that offline, and I will be sending an email out as a reminder for board members not present and anyone who needs to follow up. But let us know if you have any questions. And I believe that is all for me on that front. Yes, ma'am.
I do want to ask you, since it's coming up rather quickly, the January 30th portfolio review by the real estate committee, do you have a time?
I don't. So let's talk about that. I mean, my thinking was that it would likely be midday, just as the real estate committee is, or we could do it at, 11 or 1, sort of normal board times. Do you have a preference?
I'm fine with either. If any other board members are considering attending that, is there a preference for time?
Will I be able to attend
Yes.
virtually?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Is time an issue?
It'll be like 1 a.m. probably, but I can just go to sleep right after that. Might do cameras off.
I appreciate it.
Well, so for you, a morning
would be
might be a kindness. All right, well, let's think about it.
Director Prince?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No preference? Okay. Does that conclude?
That does.
Your director's report, item 3 is now completed. So moving on to the second action agenda item, which is letter B, resolution number SHFC 2025-02. Madam Executive Director, do you wish to have council advise the board?
I will
on
make a
this?
few questions. I would love to have council join me at the table for any technical questions. And so this is 5B. This relates to the remarketing of the bonds on Jaeger Flats. And so I will tell you just generally, this is a technical item. It's procedural in many ways. I will lay it out for you in very general terms, and we will have the very knowledgeable and capable Cliff Blunt here to answer any of your questions. So Jaeger Flats is a 300-unit development being built by Wilmington Affordable Housing. It is effectively complete. They are at 100% completion. They may have some punch list items, but they are already leasing up some of the buildings. Actually, since I did this, I believe we are now at 28% occupancy. However, this is one of the projects that did get slowed down significantly during the pandemic. And so they are not at stabilized occupancy, and that is a condition of them selling their bonds as agreed initially. And so what that means is that the bonds need to be remarketed. That is not particularly uncommon, that because of timing issues, bonds need to be remarketed. What was unusual in this transaction is that the original transactional documents, the closing documents, did not allow for that remarketing as a matter of course administratively. And so we are coming back to the board to ask to amend those documents and to execute the other documents that will be needed to effect that remarketing. I think the one piece of sort of, I think, financial implication of this change is that it is likely that upon remarketing the bonds, the interest rate will have gone up. So we don't know what that is yet, and we will have to work with the developer to see how that impacts their pro forma and what our projections look like in terms of payout of developer fee, other fees, and shared cash flow over time. But there is not an easy alternative to this route. So with that, I will pause. I, or likely Mr. Blunt, can answer any questions that you have.
That was perfect.
You don't wish to add anything?
I'm sorry?
At this time, you don't wish to
No,
add anything?
that's exactly what's happening. if for some reason they don't get remarketed, the bonds will just be paid off on February, like it's supposed to be February 1st, but since that's a Saturday, it'll be February 3rd, and then the financing will just go away, which will cause a lot of problems for the project. That would not be a good thing. So I think this is, Diana's right, this is something that's normally built into the documents. But in this case, there was a 42-month period to get through construction and stabilization, and so at the time these were closed in August of 21. Everyone, given what the Austin market was doing at the time, it was projected that there would be no issue in getting stabilized before February 1st of 25, and so these provisions weren't put in, so we just got them in the documents to provide for them. This did happen on another transaction that I'm not in the same position, but that we're on for capital area housing that back in August, so it's not completely. It's not common, but it's not completely unusual.
That's helpful. Do any of my colleagues have questions for staff about the need to look at this resolution for vote?
So
Yes, Director Holliston, I see you.
if the property doesn't stabilize, or I guess occupancy in a certain time frame, then what, if we pass this, and then what would happen?
Eventually, the bonds, so the way these are structured, the principal amount of the bonds is just sitting with the trustee, and the proceeds that have been spent are the proceeds from a construction loan. And so the bonds would be paid off, strategic would be out of it, and the developer would be faced with coming up with long-term financing to pay off that construction loan that would not be tax exempt anymore, and they'd have a tax credit issue. It'd be very expensive for the developer if they do not eventually get this stabilized.
Do the documents, I think one item that is still being negotiated is the length of this, this extension, because of just what I think you're pointing to, which is that stabilized occupancy is tough in this market. Does it allow for additional future remarketings if needed?
Right now, we're just doing 6 months, but on a phone call yesterday, the developer indicated they were talking to the lenders about getting the possibility of another 6-month extension to get up to 12 months. And since they're at 28% and it's 100% complete, they feel pretty good about getting at least up.
Okay.
Maybe 6 months they're thinking is a little tight, but they feel really good about the 12 months. So they're working on that, and we'll get that all built in to the documents, whatever there's a permanent purchaser of the bonds that's signed that's agreed to buy the bonds at conversion or when they've stabilized, and so they're the ones that have to agree to how much extension will they give on that, and they've already agreed to 6 months, and they're trying to get them to agree to a 12 month at this point, and they may say we just want to do 6 months now and we'll address it later.
So basically, they have 6 months to get to that stabilized occupancy, and then the bonds would be remarketed. Okay.
Well, if it gets stabilized, the forward bond purchaser will just buy the bonds, and there's an automatic conversion to a permanent interest rate in the documents. And so that's Mass Mutual. They've agreed to do that, but only when the project gets to that stabilized occupancy. So that's we're just trying to extend the time to get to that point.
Right. Okay. Does anyone know what the occupancy is in that area at the moment?
Don't have the number.
Okay.
That's something we're looking at,
Okay.
submarkets, yeah.
Submarket. Okay.
Are there other questions from the board members? I have a quick question. Did I miss what the bar is for what's defined as stabilized occupancy?
Typically 90% for 90
90.
days.
I think I looked at it the other day. I believe it was the typical 90% at 90 days, and there's a financial calculation. The rents have to be a certain level also.
Do you have a question?
What's the worst case scenario if they're not able to stabilize within the next 12 months?
I guess worst case scenario is that they can't get it stabilized, that the the forward bond purchaser, Mass Mutual, says we're not going to give any more extensions, and then the current bondholders would be paid off the money that the trustee is holding, and Elmington would be faced with coming up with a way to finance the project on a long-term basis and repay the tax credits.
Yeah.
So it would be.
This is what becomes a workout.
Okay.
Because if you don't have the tax credit equity after you've already invested the tax credit equity, it's a huge.
Yeah, it would be a real problem. They're working hard to get this leased up.
Right. And so then our exposure would become.
Strategic doesn't have any exposure. We would lose, I guess, we'd kind of lose the project,
Right. Okay.
but there would be no financial exposure.
Okay. And then the building would go back to being market rate, or would it still?
Most likely, unless they could there might be a workout where they could get it worked out long term, but we just have to see what happened at that point. Who knows what things will be like in 12 months.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, see no other questions. Could we entertain a motion for adoption of this resolution?
I move adoption of resolution SHFC 2025-02.
Is there a second? Director Huddleston has seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. And we now move to action item C, the resolution number SHFC-225-03, labeled text pool authorization. And again, I invite our Executive Director, Ms. Gray, to introduce the item.
Thank you, President Wenig. Next slide, please. So this is really an administrative item, and it is simply to have the outgoing president pass the power of the purse, or at least the pen, to the incoming president for our investment account, which is text pool. Kevin, can you advance the slide, please? Is it not responding? All right, well, we'll just talk about it. It's fairly straightforward.
Okay.
At the same time, we want to add not only treasurer, but our director of finance and administration, Katie Adams, to the account for really for informational purposes. And so we, because we had not yet had the vote, we wanted to bring this onto the action agenda so that we could reflect the newly elected president. So Debbie is passing out a revised version of, TextPool has their own resolution format. That is what you are seeing. It now shows Director Wenig as the president. I continue on the account as the primary signator with Katie Adams also added for informational purposes.
Is that the extent of
That is.
the issue? Okay. Does the board wish to ask any questions of Madam Director about this updated form with the new president and added to the form for the purposes of signing? Okay, then is there a motion to pass it for this resolution?
I move adoption of SHFC 2025-03 text pool authorization.
Is there a second? And Director Prince is the second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And the matter carries unanimously as well. We're now proceeding through the agenda to item 6, discussion items, board development and training. And once again, I think our Madam Executive Director has some items for us to consider.
Thank you. So our discussion today, I think, is relevant in two particular ways. One is that we are at the beginning of a fresh year with new board leadership, and one of the tasks that we have before us and are excited about is thinking about the kind of development and training resources that the board would like in this calendar year. We are also, as of a couple of weeks ago, in receipt of some new guidelines and requests from the county around onboarding and orientation of new directors, which we want to make you familiar with, even though you, of course, are all long tenured members. And the interaction between those two. So we are thinking about how we can support ongoing onboarding of of new members, et cetera, as we also think about other training and board development. So first I wanted to share with you in the next slide that you may recall that when we went through our budget process, we not only just budget for training and development, but we have specific budget for the board itself. And so about $16,000 for conference registration, out-of-town travel where necessary, training and professional development, and that would be if you wanted to individually go and do a training and there was a cost to you, et cetera. And so this is obviously about a little over $2,000 per member when we have a full board. It is not limited to that. Board members have different bandwidth to engage and spend time attending conferences or engaging in training. Just know that, do not assume that just because something costs something, that it is not available to you, and we really would very much love to use every cent of this this year and make sure that you're getting the support you need. Next slide. She talked about a little bit about a couple of the conferences that are coming up very quickly in February. I'm not going to go through these, but we have really every month or two, even now in January, on our radar are events that we think could have some value for our board members to attend. In most cases, if not all, we will likely have one or more staff members attending these conferences. And then, as you've seen, there are smaller events, local, might be an afternoon, that we are making the board aware of. So I think we're happy to begin developing this list and probably can have it placed on our share drive in such a way that the board can access it at will, but be thinking about what might be of interest to you. Next slide. So finally, as I said, we did hear from Travis County Health and Human Services, which is our liaison to the Commissioner's Court at the staff level, that they have gone through a process of thinking about what they'd like a baseline onboarding orientation to be for new directors. And so in particular, there's a kickoff meeting with staff. They are asking for individual meetings with judge and commissioners, both at appointment and twice annually thereafter. We will speak about that in a moment. But more specific to training and development, and we're in communication with staff about what we had been doing. And so there's a requirement to complete Attorney General training on open meetings and Public Information Act within a few weeks of appointment. And then that there be some additional training on general board responsibilities and authorities as a housing finance corporation, general training on housing finance corporations, and training on low-income housing tax credits. And so one of the things that we are thinking, because we have also we've asked board members to do Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act training already, thinking about where there is not a specific source named for these trainings, whether it's something that we could arrange for directors, and that because no one ever had one training on the low-income housing tax credit program and came away with 0 questions, that it would be our intent to continue the work that we started last year and likely annually do some training, not only on tax credits, but on bond finance, both for any new directors and as a refresher, and an opportunity to ask more questions for existing directors. So you'll notice a couple of asterisks, and we have asked for a follow-up meeting with staff. We think there are some practical questions about whether we can achieve all of this. The training does include the board training from TALFA within 6 months of appointment. Well, TALFA really only does in-person training at their annual conference, so there's no guarantee it would happen within 6 months. And this year they didn't actually have any content specific for board members. So we want to speak with staff about, whether we could identify alternatives. And then I think that the requirement to have individual meetings with judge and commissioners twice annually, if you say 7 board members twice a year, 5 commissioners, and the judge, that's 70 meetings. And they, of course, are very busy. So we'll explore with staff whether it is their expectation that occur, and if so, whether they will be able to offer us any assistance getting on folks' calendars, because we anticipate that could be a challenge. But having said that, this is really, I think, this begins to codify in parallel with some of the expectations that were included in the board manual that you approved in December. That board manual also said the executive committee will come up with a training plan annually. So I think I just wanted you to have this in mind as you opened the conversation with your newly elected executive committee about what kind of resources staff can help bring to you this year.
Do any of my colleagues have questions on this item of onboarding, orientation, and ongoing board training needs? Any questions for staff? Just to clarify again, the slide we're looking at right now, these requirements apply to appointees coming in from January 2025 forward.
Accurate.
So all of us sitting here are not necessarily under the umbrella of these requirements, though we've been proceeding through them anyway. Yes, Director.
No, when
Alton.
you're done, would
Did I
like the
miss
floor.
your hand?
No, I've raised it just right now.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and let you speak.
Thank you, Madam
I
President.
acknowledge
This is just my particular guidance. It sets up a very peculiar situation if you have folks that, in theory, have an entitlement to meet, twice a year with a judge.
Yeah.
And people who do not. I would like to talk to the judge twice a year. If it's available, and the rest of the court. I feel we got to help our counterparty at the county understand, given the rate of turnover. There's also some folks like, Director Huddleston, who is not technically new, but obviously is new. Some of us have benefited, in quotes, from getting to know our appointers better through the revamping of SHFC. And so having folks that are in that netherworld is peculiar, on top of what we just discussed, which is, it seems novel to require, because the language was requirement, something that we value but have had difficulty achieving. So that will work itself out. But I also wanted to say, this is again just a perspective of one person as a working parent. Some of the things that are being asked of potential new members, I think might discourage our applicant pool. If you have to go to Talfa to take a workshop, that starts to bias who might want to come. And I personally, and I would be very interested particularly in Director Huddleston's experience, I really valued that I could do Open Meetings Act over a video and a form. I actually found that video really helpful.
Yeah.
And it's also helpful because it's a shared experience. It's like we've all watched the same brilliant lawyer lady tell us how the Open Meetings Act worked. And when we did the training on Bond Review Board, LIHTC, I think one of the things we were trying to see is will it work if we have an expert come and talk to us, record it, and then make it available. I think we could improve the production values a little bit, and then as we contemplate the website redesign, find a place to put it. I think it'd be really valuable to stakeholders in the community too, that they understand we live in this world of 4% and 9%, bond review calendar, chapter 394, so they kind of understand what we can do. And having that modular training could be really helpful. It might be an amenity to some of the other HFCs. Again, this might be just both a generational and life circumstance situation. I would much prefer that than being required to kind of go to a workshop in wherever it might be. Luckily, it would be in Round Rock. And then the third thing is, I think our situation is really specific. And that is an argument for whether in a modular video-based, online video-based way, or a human being training us in a bespoke way once a year. We're very specific. You kind of have to, if you understand the Urban Institute brief on low-income housing tax credits, as I have found out, that's not going to be particularly helpful to you in understanding the Texas QAP, the Texas timeline, how we deal with developers, who are the developers out there. We have a very specific information environment, and so again, that speaks to maybe investing in our own, modular pieces. I would say that it's probably the thing that I am saddest most about my time. It took me, 18 months to, in the confusion and lack of help, figure out, oh, these are our actual powers. Oh, this is why August is so important. Things like that no one had helped. And I don't know if a generic training or generic resources are going to be helpful. And I think speed is so important that, again, it speaks to our own modularity. That is the end of my feedback on this. I think you can sense my feeling about this through my tone. I would be really interested if Director Huddleston is willing to offer any insight as to, she just went through this, is going through this, any fresh memories of what would be helpful. Because I want us to do well at this.
We need to.
But I don't want us to be, forced into wearing glass slippers when we're going for a jog.
Director Huddleston, would you like to add anything about your experience onboarding?
Yes, absolutely. I will say that being able to do the Opens Meeting Act and the Public Information Act at my own leisure was very helpful, and I think that definitely lowers the bar for entry on those two things, and I think it was very needed information to kind of go at your own pace so you could make sure that you understood it. And then as far as going to Talfa, I think we might be better served, as Julio said, to come up with very specific things that we need to know instead of things that are nice to know. So maybe more efficiency with the learning process would be helpful rather than learning a very wide amount of things.
Thank you, Director. Director Prince, anything about your experience with trainings?
You didn't get training when we knew nothing. We just egged along until we got a new board president, and then we started learning, so we didn't get onboarding, actually.
And this year you did attend a conference, correct?
I did the one in Austin.
The TAP.
Yeah, I did the town. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Any feedback? You like that a lot?
I like that a lot. I want to go back.
All right. Just a few comments. I just want to say for clarification purposes, and I know we didn't create this training program. As a Chapter 394 corporation, we voluntarily have opted to comply with the Open Meetings Act. It is not a requirement, and I'm not sure that that's even really understood by the guidelines the way they're worded, coming from our HHS liaison, Monique Coleman, on this posted guidelines. So that's one thing that maybe needs to be clarified, though. We're voluntary complying, and therefore we need to understand them, but it's an interesting thing. Also, Director Gray, in regards to our last training in the springtime and the one you foresee for this spring, any particular feedback you want to, or anything you want to acknowledge from the feedback you received from the directors about making it very specific to what we need to learn, not what would be nice to learn, and how you might look at creating a document that has a higher production, a video with higher production value, et cetera?
Sure. So first of all, let me say, I think, we are at the staff level, even as we're orienting people, we're recording some of the sessions that we're doing with new staff.
Oh, okay.
And whether any of those are concretely useful for board, I don't know, but I think we're beginning to think through how we beginning to build, right, these sort of modular bits of information. So I think that here, housing finance corporations and tax credits, the any source is in part what the concern, right? That will be very general. I think we certainly want to hear any feedback you have about the more tailored training we did last year with the board in person, but I understood your commentary about the general nature of training to be more about this directive to go out and find just any tax credit training. Director Altamirano, is that?
I found there were a lot of like ding, ding, ding. That was really helpful
Right.
to when we did our work session. As someone that had a lot of questions about like the peculiarities and what was helpful. Like, let me give you an example. After the training, it became very apparent to me because we finally had a shared conversation with our experts, not just me reading, briefs. We're not going to be the 9% business. We don't really, it's just not, well, it helped me reason myself into, we're not going to really do 9%. Probably shouldn't be our focus. It's really tough. What we have to be good at is getting people excited that are good at 4% to be with us and being thoughtful about shepherding good projects with us, right? And same about just when do we need to be open late for business because of the bond review schedule. Things of that nature I hadn't fully been able to confidently say, and that was a result of the training, and the training very, very clear about our specific operating environment. If I had received that training back in the day, there's so many things that I would have changed into that would have given me agency, that would have put us in maybe a better position, and also reduced my anxiety level slightly about doing a bad job. And I think a lot of that content, if delivered in the Texas Open Meeting Act style, where you have an articulate, prepared professional with basic production values going through it, you can pause it, you can go back. It's, there's a handbook that you can also get into. I think for a lot of folks would be really valuable. And we have 2 folks that are going to come in this year, at least, maybe 3. And so, again, I think it speaks to the value of customized modularity. As is often the case, we have been given a thing, and so we're going to take it and make it the best version of it. So let's engage this thing that's been placed in front of us, and let's make it something that works for us. Any source. I would just be really sad if, for some reason, a few of us weren't here, and in the future somebody comes and they think that hauling themselves up to Plano to get some training is going to help them spend their 2 years here better, as opposed to us just doing the work and being like, here's the 50 minutes that are actually going to change your efficacy on here.
So I think I want to just make a couple commitments and then, perhaps reframe the question, a question. One is that we have asked for and anticipate speaking with staff about, about sort of some of the details of this that maybe they just weren't thinking quite about how this would be implemented and what the impacts of that might be. and that whatever the outcome, we will seek to support the board in being able to comply with this in the most effective and least painful way possible. And what I am hearing is that asynchronous, right, where, opportunities and tailored, and sometimes both, right? I think that having the sort of here's our, best sort of take on what you really need on these topics, and then potentially having some in-person here, not you guys going someplace, but it is brought to the board, and that then gives some opportunity to ask those more in-depth, nagging questions that you've had. And so I think then the question that I would frame is, knowing that we have some of these expectations, right? Those will be there for new members, and we will be thinking about having some of them available as refreshers for existing board members. What else? Do you enter this year wishing to spend a little more time on, either as a full board or even individually?
Okay, so we have an invitation for comments by the board members on requests for particular topics or subject areas for training. Also, we can definitely send those in emails. I would imagine in the next 2 weeks, end of the month would be adequate for planning purposes. Would anyone like to bring up a topic in particular so that our executive director knows where we're going here? Okay, look for your emails.
Yes, excellent. All right. That concludes, unless you have anything else on that topic, President Weddick, we can move forward.
We can move forward. That brings us to agenda item 7, new and unfinished business. I do have one thing. Does anyone else have anything under this category? Okay, hearing none then, I just want to make some comments about today's election and about, in particular, some remarks about my predecessor, Director Altamirano. First off, I appreciate the confidence of the board in the election process, and I'm very excited about our executive committee and the treasurer and secretary roles. We've really grown a lot. But today, Director Altamirano completed his second year as president of this board. These last 2 years had extraordinary challenges. Those of us who are here are willing to tell you about those at any time, but I've made a few notes. His service during this time has been, well, remarkable. Director Altamirano led the board through the tumultuous times of 2023, going back there for a minute, when we faced our failed history at Rosemont. Director Prince was very outspoken and instrumental in pointing out that failed history and helping the board come to a reckoning about it. And during that time, we did move to sell the property. After due deliberation, we sold the property to a mission-driven nonprofit in the Austin affordable housing sector. We were thrilled, only to watch them walk away from the deal 3 weeks later. Point. Undaunted, our chairman quickly pivoted to recontact the other bidders himself. And as a result, Rosemont was sold at a higher price, and we secured written guarantees by the new owner for tenant protection, something that we were very concerned about. Just as our precarious financial situation reached a true breaking point. It was like under the wire, Director Altamirano. Last year, President Altamirano led the work to reimagine SHFC and to set the stage to become what we are as we sit here today. One of the most high potential HFCs in Texas, capable of impacting the affordable housing crisis in Travis County. And I am absolutely certain we would not have been able to land our extraordinary executive director, Ms. Gray, without your visionary grasp of policy and unparalleled prowess at setting organizational priorities, which inform and inspire us every day. You are a policy wonk in the best of ways. The people of Travis County have a true champion in you, Director Altamirano, and like any true hero, you have showed each of us how to be brave and to get strong. we also now know how to build a brave and very strong organization. And because of that, we know we will meet the challenges that lie ahead. So today, we honor you by saying, we see you. We thank you for your heroic and strategic leadership. And although we've heard that not all heroes wear capes, soon you will.
Oh, nice.
With that, staff has a card and a cake that we're going to share with you in your honor. And while those come out, we want to ask any colleagues of mine sitting here on the board or staff present to make a few comments of appreciation to Director Altamirano.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Who would like to speak? Director Prince.
Julio, so glad you decided to become president because you took us to a different place. Our meetings changed, our focus changed, and actually learning something and actually liking coming to the board meetings. Because before they were toxic, you sat there and just pure negativity, and they put slides and stuff up, and the stuff didn't make sense. The finances didn't make sense. We didn't understand it, and it was just really a joke. But you turned it around, and your rebranding was genius. And you are the reason why we are here where we are today. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Misha.
Director Huddleston, go next.
Julio, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you so much for, if y'all wouldn't have told me the stories, I would have honestly no idea. So it's been, so I think you did, from what I've heard, a tremendous job turning everything around, and it has been a great pleasure getting to know you. And I think I really enjoy talking to you, and all of the ideas that you have set forth and the direction that you have put forth for the corporation, I think is fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what we can do and keep building.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jan, for documenting a bit of our journey. As I said as a previous meeting, I do not think of myself as the causal explanation. Mm-hmm. I really think that I would not be here if it wasn't for the tenants at Rosemont. In my life, it's very easy to do what I did. I have been blessed to have a position set of experiences that made it relatively easy and no risk. I was excited to do it. I think that the tenants genuinely put their lives on the line to make change. Mm-hmm. And so I'm only here because people like you, Keisha, in a difficult moment where it would have been easy to just kind of be angry and dejected, decided to step up and muddle through a lot of difficulty. So again, if there's if there's ever a true accounting of how we got here, it really starts with the tenants being brave and at times difficult and at times unreasonable, and I think that made the change that hopefully over the next decade and decades leads to less things like that. So the foundation really is you, Keisha. And then to Jan, I'm so glad that you arrived. I remember when they were filling seats, and it was just so toxic, and it was so hard to get our appointers to hear what we were saying the way we wanted them to hear it. And so it was a real blessing that you arrived. I think that you have been an incredible partner in figuring out how to get towards the best HFC, and I'm so delighted that you and Keisha, now with Ashley, are going to lead the organization. I think one of the things that I've always believed, and we all have experienced together, and it continues to maybe experience together both at the state and national level, is real leaders know when to let go. And so I was very excited that we figured out a way to make ourselves stronger, so that I was eager to depart and make way for new voices and new approaches. Ashley, we will continue to work together. I'm really excited about what may come. I really appreciate the fact that you are not of our vintage, because it makes it so much easier for you to see the best version of ourselves without the fatigue, anger, and disgust that we accumulated in the earlier incarnation of ourselves. And then finally, to the staff, I hope that in this little speech and in these little moments, you appreciate the institutional culture that we're trying to build, and that is, we are an organization that originates in trying to address a failure. And that is forgetting that we have incredible powers aimed at a specific mission. And if we do our work well, we make a material and important difference in the lives of people that need public institutions to work well. And if we do a bad job, people of all kinds, from all parts of town, suffer. And in some cases, suffer tremendously. And so what we are trying to build is a place that wants to be exceptional. And I think sometimes, again, in the current moment, the idea that you can have talented, mission-driven people that are effective day in, day out in service, and to do it without cynicism, and to do it with an expectation that their work will matter and matter quickly, it might seem, I don't know, a throwback to a different era. But I think it is, a virtuous and important thing, and I think we are accomplishing it. And I think one of the most exciting things is when I see the quality of the group that we have assembled, and the products of your labor so far. I really feel like so many of the difficult things that only a few of you got to experience were worth it. But I will reiterate to you, we have a debt to repair, and that is the origin of how we were created, and we have a permanent obligation that even though the public may not fully be aware of our existence, they will be aware of our results in their lives, and we need to try our best every day for them. Ultimately, many of them will not know that we have worked on their behalf, but we will know that we have worked together for that. And so when I see the $18 million or the units or the space getting filled, I get really excited about how in our little corner, thanks to people like Keisha, we have been able to make actual change, and we are in the process of making very meaningful change for a lot of people. And ultimately, that all depends on the quality of your labor. So as you come in to use your mind and your bodies to transform them into good housing for people, I hope that you will be mindful of what a privilege it is to do so with the relative comfort of knowing that you were appreciated, that you were compensated hopefully well, that your labor is valued, which is very different from our foundational moment of people who do not have as much as they probably should have, as much as I would like them to have, taking real risk to stand up for themselves. And so that's hopefully a motivation for you. It will be for me for the remainder of my 2 years. And I hope that we will keep telling ourselves these important stories of how we got here, because I do not want us to forget as we become excellent at finance and excellent at deals and excellent at documents and excellent at PowerPoints, that ultimately what matters is to build structures that are homes, that are quality, that are endure, and that make the lives of people like Keisha and Lisa before her better. Thank you. Thank you for this card. Thank you for my cake.
And you may be wondering, now I sound like I'm going to be making excuses.
Okay.
Where is the promised cake?
The cape, the promised cape.
The promised cake
Yeah.
is suffering a problem with supply chain.
Oh,
And
story of our lives here at SHFC.
I got to tell you
Yeah.
that Director Weber and I literally cried when we found that 2 weeks ago it was going to be delayed another 2 weeks. So in February, you will be awarded your cape, and we expect you to wear it.
I'm looking forward to the cape and to it being commandeered by my children for their play. You all have been so generous with me, not only in terms of these gifts, but most importantly with your time. I'm speaking out to the directors, both in accepting my excessive verbosity as the cost of the things that I do well, as well as my pragmatic enthusiasm as the cost of progress. So I am sorry for being who I am. Thank you for appreciating it so much.
You should be ready for photos, though, in
Okay, I'm
February.
ready.
Be
I'm
ready.
ready.
And I
I'm
invite
ready.
staff to make any comments they wish. We're going to, having no other formal business here, I think we're going to adjourn the meeting. Anybody have any further business or questions? The meeting is adjourned then.
Thank you.
And we're going to cut that cake. 2:20 it is.